Hello, everyone. This is Darcinovia here. I am back once again, and this time, this is my review on what I haven't done in a while. Is a review on Knights of the Old Republic comic series. No, for those of you who are fans of this series, I did not forget. It's just because of a certain event that happens in the in the middle of the series run. Same thing with Dark Times, Legacy, and Rebellion. I wanted to actually be caught up with all those series before I resumed reading this one. And now that I'm caught up with those series, leading before Victor, I'm going to be reviewing the next story arc of the Knights of the Old Republic comic series. Now, it's been a long time since I reviewed this. The last time, I talked about this comic series. Jarrell was trapped, and Zane was captured. We are introduced to Carf Onasi, who in this comic series is a badass and not a whiny little bitch like he is in the game. Saul Karaf was introduced, and we have some interesting revelations about Jarrell's species. What's an offshoot? In this arc, we explore that some more, but this arc is not action packed like some of the earlier arcs were. It's more of a political drama. And Mandalore and Saul Karaf are trying to negotiate in order to prevent a weapon potentially falling into the hands of either the Republic or the Mandalorians. And when I read this comic, it was very interesting. There's a lot of things that happened, and I can't say much without spoilers. But Jarrell's origins, who is she? What is her story? Because there's a secret about her that this arc almost reveals, but in the last minute it cuts off, which is interesting. This is good storytelling, because if you're already invested in a character and something, there's a huge secret about them, you want to know more. It's not revealed in this arc, but it keeps you interested. And not to mention, Lucian, appears in this arc, and him and Zane temporarily team up, against a common foe, the Mandalorians. Now, this arc is pretty good, and it was so satisfying seeing that smug bastard, who I hated his guts, to finally see him, get what he deserved. It was so satisfying. Oh man, it was so great. And this arc also sets up the next one. And the thing I really love about this arc as well is the art it's good. Not as good as other arcs, but considering the kind of story it was telling, I think the art works really well, honestly. And considering this is not connected to the movies, I think this art is fine. John Jackson Miller does an amazing job with this comic series, and I do really love how the things look in here, and every time I read this comic, I want to read more and more and more. And I can understand why this, era is such a fan favorite. This comic series, gives some more context to characters that, if you've played the game, you'll be familiar with. And it actually makes me interested in reading more about Karaf, Karf, and Alec, who is known as Malik if you play the Knights of the Old Republic games. I'm intrigued. I want to read more. This time, it's Knights of Suffering, Now, this is perhaps my favorite arc of, of this entire comic series. For one, you know, all the connections to Knights of the Old Republic games, characters, factions. It's like some of the stuff that was mentioned in the game, like, you know, Garen being a hero. We actually see this in this comic, and you can actually understand why he's respected, in the lower city of Terrace, and the person that was going to be his successor, Bergic. Sorry, it's been a long time since I played the game, so forgive me. I also, like the fact that it introduced Griff, who is, Mission Veo's brother, and Mission as a child. So you already are seeing connections, and I really do appreciate this. This arc, to me, for the continuity alone with, the comic and the game, it feels so organic. It doesn't feel forced. And not to mention, Zane encounters, a childhood friend who thinks, oh, she thinks actually he killed her brother. And even though the Jedi in here, I think, that killed Zane's friends and basically are the reason why he's on the run. I think they're despicable, characters, and I think they're pretty much everything that is wrong with the Jedi and how they can be just as murderous as the Sith. This arc, and one of the issues, does explain why one of them is insane and why they're obsessed with the Sith. And I really, it does, make it seem like they're not just evil for no reason. They're actually genuinely scared of the Sith returning. And this arc, also, for me, I just loved it. I think the artwork is great. And we do have at least a moment with, Zane and, his friend, and not to mention Joriel and Alec. And in the end, I really do love the brief, lightsaber duel, that we have in the end. The artwork is fantastic. I really love the artwork. I think the writing is really good, and honestly, it makes me dread what's to come next, because, well, I'll explain that next time. I think this was a great arc. I thought the art was good. The pasting was well done. The content in here for a 3-issue arc was pretty damn good. And honestly, I am beyond hype to actually read the arcs to come. Anyway, for those of you who have followed my reviews up until this point, thank you. I honestly think this comic series has been amazing. Honestly. And it's one of my favorite Star Wars comics, I must admit. I just cannot wait to review more. But unfortunately, I have to talk about Vector, which is a comic arc that I'm not looking forward to for the reasons I will explain next time. And this series, I will be reviewing Vector, which will cover the Knights of the Old Republic series, Dark Times, Rebellion, and Legacy. So, this is the next time you watch a review of mine, expect to see a decently long video because I'll be reviewing 12 issues instead of my normal 3 or 4. Anyway, stay safe, everyone. May the Force be with you, and see you guys next time with another video. Thank you.